Today is the 15th of October, 2009. We are at the New York State Military Museum and Veterans Research Center in Saratoga Springs, New York. My name is Wayne Clark. I'm the interviewer. Sir, for the record, would you please state your full name and date and place of birth, please?
James M. O'Connor, or James Michael if you want. And I was born in Brooklyn, New York. And that's about it.
Okay, and when were you born?
Pardon? Oh, May the 8th, 1921.
Okay. Did you... What?
Excuse me, isn't it May 7th, Jim?
Yeah, that's
May 7th. Okay.
I say 8th, I say 7th, but that's all right.
All right. And did you attend school in Brooklyn?
No, I moved to Long Island with my family, and I went to Oceanside High Schools, and all the others, professional schools there.
Okay, and did you graduate from high school?
Graduated from high school.
What year did you graduate?
Let's see. Huh?
1940? 1940 or 39?
Okay,
38,
well,
I think.
okay. Well, that's all right. Do you remember where you were and what your reaction was to the attack on Pearl Harbor?
Oh, I remember right away. I had served an apprenticeship in Mineola, in New York, Long Island, and from there they brought people down to investigate the planes that were on the property, and in doing so, they asked for volunteers to go to Georgia, Douglas, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Douglas, Georgia with them. They sent us out, and we were employed by a flight company, and we were teaching the Army how to fly.
So you had gone to aviation school.
Aviation school.
And it says here in jet engine school?
Not before this.
Oh, this, okay.
This is teaching the Army how we worked at Douglas, Georgia, and we were teaching the Army how to fly.
Okay.
We lived in a house, 4 guys to a house, and we had to eat with the school teachers, and we were trying to get them to use the planes that came from Texas, and they were bi-wing planes.
Mm-hmm.
And one morning we woke up and turned on the radio. Of course, there's no television, of course, and it said that Pearl Harbor had been attacked. So I said I was going to go and enlist right away. I left my job and went down to Florida to enlist, but they wouldn't take me because I was underage. So you had to be 21 at that time to get into the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm. Now, why did you pick the Marine Corps?
I have no idea. My father was in World War I, and so...
Was he a Marine?
No, he was in the Army, and he died when he was a very young man, around 40-some years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided that I wanted to protect my country just as he did. And I had to wire my mother for money, and I got home, and I went down to 90 Church Street in New York and enlisted, but they wouldn't take me because I was underage. But then, if I waited a while, I would be of age, and then something happened, and then they took me.
Mm-hmm.
I went with a group to
Was it Paris Island?
Paris Island, right. Went to Paris Island. And in Paris Island, we took boot camp, but boot camp was shortened for us.
Mm-hmm.
And we then were put on a train and went to the West Coast by train. And then from there, we went by ship. And there's 3 ships that were in the...
Okay, you
I
went,
went to boot camp, of course, and that was in Camp Dunlop, and I believe, and then we just went overseas.
Jim, open your eyes.
Huh?
Open your eyes.
Open there. What, where you go?
You have to look at, when you keep looking down, look ahead.
Open your eyes.
You have to have this another sign for him to go into the service.
okay,
Then he was, he had a sign because he wasn't,
right.
he was 20.
So you were shipped overseas.
Yeah, we went overseas in a convoy.
Now where were you shipped from?
Uh,
Was it on the West Coast somewhere?
What is it? It's in California.
California?
It's the state, but we,
Probably Camp Pendleton, was it?
no camp. We were just
Oh,
put
okay.
aboard ship. And we just took off with the ship. And that was oh boy. It was, Greta Garbo's suite was on it. It was a Swedish ship.
Mm-hmm.
And they used us to take us over.
Did you get seasick at all?
But
Did you get seasick aboard ship?
I don't know if I should say what happened aboard ship.
Okay.
What happened aboard ship when we got into Australia, the Navy took over the ship
Mm-hmm.
and called it the John S. Erickson. Because they didn't feed us, holes with no food,
Mm-hmm.
and the ship was a mess. And that was in thing with other ships that were in it, but this was one ship.
Mm-hmm.
And they took it over, but we were left on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
The place was in total blackout,
That's Australia.
but the shore was lit up like Luna Park.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember exactly how many days I was packed if I look back. We should load it from one ship to another ship to get combatant ships.
Mm-hmm.
And the government took over the ship. It was the John S. Erickson. And that was my deal. So we stood there and loaded ships from morning till night.
Okay. Okay.
We loaded and unloaded on the docks to get to 3 ships to go to some place that we didn't know at the time. It was the USS Barnett, the Elliott, and the Macaulay. I think I was on the Macaulay, and that would be in the book. And we shoved off in a whole convoy to
Mm-hmm.
go out there. We practice landings in Fiji, and then from Fiji we went right on to the canal.
Okay.
And that was,
All right. Do you want to now? What unit of the Marine Corps were you assigned to at that point?
I was in the 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines, Company M. Company M, 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines.
Okay. And do you want to tell us what it was like going into Guadalcanal?
Well, the North Carolina was broadside to the island,
Mm-hmm.
and we had to go down the cargo there, which was about 40 feet down,
Mm-hmm.
and carrying this gear is pretty tough. And we got into boats. There were 3 types of landing boats. One which was It was like a ship, like a regular boat. The others had the doors that came down to the front, and we would go out. And we hit the beach. There was little fighting, but North Carolina was shooting over our heads as we went in. And they were tearing up, the trees were going out of the ground and everything else. But there was little fighting at the beach because they all started to take off and run for the hills, more or less.
Okay.
And our thing was grassy knoll, which was way back in the back, but we started out, and the next thing you know, it became dark. And there's, of course, no lights any place. And we were traveling, and the next thing you know, the guy before you, we certainly weren't in 4 or 5 foot apart. We were showing hands on shoulders because it was so dark you couldn't see. There's no lights at all. And all of a sudden, the guy before you was gone, then you were gone. We fell in a 40-foot hole.
Oh my God.
And we, of course, Sacktime Evans, which was our sergeant, said, lay on your machine gun, don't take it up, just lay on it and see what happens. And they sent scouts out. And at that time we had gotten in the old hats. We got new ones that came over your ears.
Oh, you mean you had the old style helmets?
Old style helmets.
Okay.
And then we got these new ones on as we went into the island. And they were pretty difficult to hear at first. And they sent scouts out. Nobody wanted to be a scout, of course, but they put them out and they went back to back, and then they spread out and they were coming back to back. One man gave the, what do you call it?
The password?
But the other man did not hear it, so he bayoneted him. That made confusion, and then it was more, and we had some slight fire from them. But later on, in months, we found out that they had us completely surrounded. And we made so much noise that they all took off. So that's not military. But that was it. And then from then on, we went out, and then they changed. Our outfit was Grassy Knoll. The Grassy Knoll was so far away, they thought it was a knoll, but it was almost a mountain. And they decided, hey, let's turn around and go back and protect the airport. And the airport was only just being made. And there was only one runway light to get in. And so they had to protect that. But constantly, day and night, they bombed us by air.
Did you have any close encounters with the Japanese? Like really close combat?
Well, close combat was in the beginning and the end. Wherever you were, they would attack in small groups. Called the names of the place: Lieutenant River. What was the other one? Up at the top, where they attacked. But most of the trouble was through aircraft and naval bombardment to the island. But there was also a lot of fighting, ground fighting, and they would disappear, come and go, and you never know where they were. They were in trouble too because they didn't have too much food or supply, but they were being replaced, but not, I guess not with enough numbers to really attack. But they did attack.
Jim, explain.
That's all right, go ahead.
Explain, honey, that you were a company, it was a mule company, right? That you were the machine gunners. Your company was the machine gun company, is that correct? And it was called Mule Company? It's
Your company was a machine gun company.
that's what he
We squad, a group of about 5 or 6 people
Mhm.
were involved in it because at that time they were watercooled.
Uh-huh.
And they had to have the men behind you to bring ammunition and to bring water.
Now, was that a 30 caliber machine
30
gun?
caliber machine gun.
Okay.
Model 1917. They weren't used in World War I.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was our equipment. But it was good enough. But that's the way it went.
Okay. I'm going to stop for,
Bathroom
Places
there.
you do your interviews, is it?
no. But we have to work around, unfortunately, we've got that noise behind us. Anyway,
Everything really, sir,
This is
is in that book that you would be
Sure
really
what?
thinking.
about, that's about it, actually.
okay, how long were you on Guadalcanal?
August the 7th to December.
August 7th to December 15th of 1942.
That's
Right.
right.
Okay. And where did you go after Guadalcanal? I know the Marines took some heavy casualties there. Were you injured at all or wounded?
It's
I was hit in the back with
on the second page, sir.
shrapnel, but it didn't penetrate, it just knocked me. There was a number of guys that got knocked off right around. I was lucky I came out.
Okay. And you were wounded with shrapnel in the back
I
and
wasn't really open wounded. It was a pretty good sized piece that is in the back.
Uh-huh.
It's not killed a bunch of guys around us, but I survived. And the only thing that I had was yellow jaundice,
uh-huh.
malaria, and things of that nature, bitten up because we did not have any tents.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually we got a few, but we slept on the ground most of the time.
Were you hospitalized?
Yes, I was hospitalized, but they were hospitals. We're not hospitals. The hospital was a tent,
Uh-huh.
and in the tent we stayed.
Okay. But you didn't end up on a hospital ship or anything?
No,
Okay.
no. But
Ne-
when I was in the cricket stadium, they were sending a bunch of people home,
Mm-hmm.
and I was not to go home.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to go Liberty that night, and they pulled me out of the Liberty line because I was completely yellow.
Oh. So you had yellow jaundice, huh?
Yeah, so they said, you're going back. So that's how I got back.
Yeah. So they sent you back to the States?
Yeah.
Okay. And once you got back to the States, were you hospitalized? No.
No, they wanted to send us back in. Whether I had anything to do with it or not, I complained. I had one fellow in the group that came back, and I don't even remember his name. He had machine gun slugs in his back, and they wanted to send him back.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, because they wanted to go to Oceanside, California to join another squadron. So then they decided, hey, wait a minute, maybe these guys are right. So they took us in and tried to figure out what we should do
Mm-hmm.
with this. So they wanted to send me to a school, and I didn't want to go into there. I wanted to go back into aviation, which I was in.
Uh-huh.
And finally I went, first of all, they put all of us back out into the desert.
Was this in California?
Yes.
Island. Wasn't
Nylon, California.
Okay.
And they put us in the desert, and they were all the fellows who were in the Marine Corps that had been there for years, and they were in the Nicaraguan campaign.
Uh-huh.
And they were all lined up, and they wanted to see all the medals we had. Nobody had any medals. I mean, so they decided that they would keep us there for a while until everybody got halfway decent. And then I was in the fire department. I was in the motor transport. It would go from one thing to another.
Uh-huh.
And finally, I was sent to Cherry Point, North Carolina. And from Cherry Point, I went to A school for engines,
Uh-huh.
aircraft and engines. And then B school, I was to Chicago, B school. My wife went with me.
Mhm.
So you were married.
So you got married in the service?
Yes.
April 15th,
She
1945.
was from my
Oh,
hometown.
okay. Do you want to show these, hold these pictures up and I can zoom in on them with the camera? Okay. So I see you were a gunnery sergeant?
Technical sergeant in aircraft.
Okay.
That was my main
Okay.
We ended up as, do
All right, got him.
occupation.
you have that other one underneath there that says, Guadalcanal memories?
But
I don't know. Do you want to just take that bottom one, sweetheart, and show it to it's Mr. Chase, right?
Clark.
Clark. Mr. Clark. I don't know if one of this is. I don't know if I want to shoot that.
Okay. Yeah, just hold that up and I'll zoom in on that.
what's the matter?
And that's on the cover of the book.
No, not this book. Not this. No, it's not on the
Oh.
top of that. No.
Okay.
But everything, Mr. Clark, that he has been involved in is there.
Yeah.
And
Okay. Got it.
Take it.
Yeah, I know it's all in the book,
but I
but
know it was,
yeah.
you wanted to hear him.
Everything-
right, I just want to hear it
Everything
in his words.
It's documented. I kept it all the time.
There's
Yeah.
a little
Wrote it
diary,
on
you'll see a
every day.
picture of the little diary in there.
True, it was illegal, but they knew that I had it. If there's only,
All right.
There's only one place in it, and that's the last battle. It's absolutely blank. I was in a hospital. I shouldn't have been out. I sneaked out. I was in the battle, but we didn't want the battle out. We didn't want anything to put the guys.
Jim, could you speak up there just a little bit, or is this all right, Mr.?
Well, yeah, it'd be better if he spoke a little louder.
Yeah,
If he could.
you're not speaking loud enough, sweetheart, for that equipment to pick it up.
But you'll find, if anybody wants to know, it's all here, and it is actually right.
Okay. Whereabouts were you when the war ended?
I, I think you were in Cherry Point, Jim, when the war ended. In Cherry Point, I believe.
And I went on case, and I went home, throw, and that's when I became delirious on a train.
Mhm.
Beat up a couple of guys, stopped the train and put me off at Amarillo, Texas, into an army camp. Naturally, I was without leave because I was going back from a 30-day furlough,
Uh-huh.
and I was active without leave. So they finally squared that away because the Army Air Corps called up and said that I was in the hospital
Yeah,
there.
he was, he had
And
that.
we talked
Mhm.
to all the people there.
Yeah.
And then I went back. that's when they decided to divide us up and to send us into sick bays and stuff.
No, he was asking there, where were you when the actual armistice was declared?
But
Where were you when the actual armistice was declared? In July 45, I believe it was.
Yeah,
probably
1945.
it was in
He might have been in, he probably was in Chicago then, because he was going to go to jet school.
Okay.
For the Marine Corps,
No,
there was seven men.
this book was only about Guadalcanal, really.
Okay. And you were discharged in 1946.
Yes.
Yeah, I served my 4 years.
And whereabouts were you discharged from?
Cherry Point.
That was
North
Cherry Point.
Carolina.
Right.
Okay.
In Cherry Point. Yeah.
Okay.
He was a pilot in China. He escaped from China and came to Cherry Point by Chinese aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
And we almost were going to bring him down when he came in. His name was Chauncey Laughlin Jr. And he was Pappy Boyington's right wingman in China.
Oh.
And so he served with me. I flew around with him a lot.
Uh-huh.
He got way up in the brass, and we were friends. We'd go on just regular jackets.
Uh-huh.
Jimmy, speak up, dear. Speak
Pardon?
up. Speak up a little bit, because
I am speaking up as loud as I can, I think.
no, you're not. You can speak up a
Okay.
little louder.
All right.
Okay.
Well, it's hard for me to put two things together. They talk with my brains.
Now, once you were discharged from the service, did you make use of the GI Bill at all?
The GI Bill. I know.
Did you go back to school on the GI Bill?
No.
No. Did you buy a house with the GI Bill?
I don't know if it was a GI Bill, but I did buy, I quit, I went to work in LaGuardia Field.
Mm-hmm.
And when this fellow that just dumped this plane in the water,
Uh-huh.
that's where I worked. But anyhow,
Okay.
Sorry,
anyway,
That's all right.
we have to.
And then eventually you got into the...
well, no,
Oh.
eventually I started my own business.
Mhm.
I figured I was a good enough mechanic to go into the auto repair.
Mhm.
And I bought through the GI Bill, I bought a small gas station and made it into a thing. And then I got out of the gas station, but didn't get out, but I started a fuel oil business on the side. And from that, I sold the station, went into the fuel oil business all the way.
Mhm.
And then I decided I didn't think I wanted this anymore. So I decided I would go to Lake George
Mhm.
and build a resort. That's what we have now.
No, we went up to Lake George. We vacationed in Lake George.
Now I'm getting to it, my daughter's taking it over.
Okay.
And when we went up there, we went to some neighbors of ours.
And
that
I
had
gotta
radio.
go to a bathroom someplace.
That's to go to the bathroom.
Do you want to stop and take a quick break?
I would like kinds of paper.
Your
His
diarrhea
His
is...
Actual diary every day. I gave it to the guy. I never let it out of my house. And somehow or another, somebody's come up with a diary.
It was somebody in our local
And I have a
area.
picture of it right in this book.
Okay, but there are excerpts from the diary in the book.
Everything, yes, oh, yes,
Mhm.
yes, definitely.
Yeah, and I can't see it now. There is a picture of it in there.
Just give me a
It's
couple of-
written on
It's very, Jimmy, just
Like-
give
red
Like-
cross paper,
Mhm.
every kind of paper.
Japanese paper, and all, and it's written in my handwriting, and you can't disappointed. I never let it out of my house until we started this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody came along. The guy in the front's a relative of ours. And, he was in the army, and
Uh-huh.
so the boy decided to make the book.
His brother.
He's got everything. His
Like
brother.
this.
He's decided that in the front of the book was cards that we used, that we did civilians use.
Uh-huh.
So it was a pretty good book, actually.
Yeah, I was reading through it. It is a very
And
interesting
even
book.
these pictures that they
So-
showed of the Japanese,
Mhm.
they committed suicide, mostly good things.
Yeah.
Rather than, well, of course, if they got killed in the act, here it is here. Here's a copy that you can show.
Maybe I'll donate this to you. I'll
Okay.
donate that, maybe. There's the book.
Okay, that's the
That's the
diary.
actual diary, yes, a picture of the actual diary.
Okay.
And-
All right.
So we don't know where it is.
I don't think you could miss it if you saw it.
Okay.
So somebody, I thought that they had, is it in another place? I thought that this was, actually you were in Albany.
No, this is the only state military museum.
Well, see, then I was wrong there. So if they said,
Unless it went to like the Marine Corps Reserve Center or
No,
something.
no.
Okay.
because evidently, and I'd just love to see if that is my book that they've got. Somehow, I don't know.
Okay. Now, did you join any veterans organizations?
Yes, it belongs to the Marine Corps League.
Did I what?
He does, it belongs to the Marine Corps League.
You belong to the Marine Corps League?
Yep, he's
Yeah,
a life
I never
member.
went to a meeting.
Okay. And did
I
you
paid the dues.
did you stay in contact with anyone you were in the service with?
Never,
No?
never, and I've been all over. I mean, as far as going, I was in B school
Uh-huh.
in Chicago,
Mm-hmm. Oh.
where that?
I brought that.
That's his Marine Corps League hat?
Do you want to put it on?
I don't care.
It's the Marine Corps
Right,
League in
torture.
Plattsburgh. Here, Jim.
I mean, it's hard to
All right.
remember back, you know,
Mhm.
just, but if I didn't have this, I would be lost. Because
Okay.
I can't remember names, I can't remember, I can remember everything I did, but I can't remember names and
Mhm.
things, I mean.
The
Did-
only person that really, in one way, is Joe Sheeby. He's, God rest his soul. He was one of the attendants at our wedding, and he was stationed in Cherry Point.
Oh, Joe Sheeby,
Joe
yeah,
Sheeby,
Joe
we kept
Sheeby,
in
yeah.
touch with him because he married one of my
I see.
girlfriends. And
Okay.
he met at our wedding.
Yeah, Joe
And,
Sheeby. He's dead.
Yeah.
Did you ever attend any kind of reunions or anything?
No, I tried to we do high school reunions and that broke down and everything breaks down, you know,
Uh-huh.
as they get older.
Okay.
So,
How do you think your time in the service changed or affected your life?
oh, it made me more to people that, you know, that I knew that were knocked out, gone, and
Mhm.
don't even know their names anymore. But you do sort of miss some people, and every once in a while they will come back to you.
Mhm.
Every once in a while an incident will come back to you that you didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think a lot about the time I got hit in the back, because they finally wound up and putting a steel plate and 4 6-inch screws in my back. But that was never actually service connected because it happened after you were there.
Mm-hmm.
But you were injured when it was there. But you can't fight City Hall all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think what Mr.
Just forget it.
was asking, sweetheart, was,
Pardon?
I think what he's trying to find out from you is what did some of these events, experiences that you had, did they change you?
Do you think you were changed? I mean, did the service make you more mature or?
think that the service may be more closer to people, actually, and realizing that they could be here today and gone tomorrow. I mean, which is one of the things that's tough to get used to, a lot of this stuff. But and also traveling across the country and being in the service and seeing how other people had to live, it made you more ambitious, I think, to get out and to make more money and to be a better person. And that's what I think I learned from it.
Did you, while you were in the service, did you ever get to see any USO shows like Bob Hope or anyone like that?
No,
Never?
no.
Okay.
I worked.
Okay.
I started a resort, and I just.
Well, no, he was
that
talking
was
about
my
what-
life, actually, after that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the way it was.
And you were discharged with the rank of sergeant,
technical side.
technical sergeant.
Three-
Okay.
Three down.
Okay. Did you consider making the Marine Corps a career at all?
I had, but then, and so in ways, I am sorry, because I would have liked to went a long way with aviation, but now today I'd be lost. It's changed.
Well, you would have been on the ground floor.
Yes, he would have definitely.
Yeah, well, I started, finished up with the engines that they have today, in other words, but nothing to repair them or do anything with them. I mean, they're just out.
Now, were you ever a pilot in civilian life?
No, but not technically, not
But you could
legally,
fly, right?
Not legally. Things were different in back then, in time.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we got room and board for $1 a day in the teachers' quarters that they had down south. So that's sort of ridiculous. And when you've come through 7 gallons of gas for $1, things get changed.
Wow. Now, what was your favorite airplane to fly?
Well, we had I've got a model of the one home, it's a fly-wing plane, and
Was that the Stearman?
Stearman, yes, Stearman. So you got the name. I'm terrible with names, absolutely just ridiculous. I mean, I can remember a lot of other things, but the name, I played golf with a guy, and on the first day he tells me his name, and I never would remember it, did he?
Okay.
That's gone too now. I can't do that anymore.
All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
No, nothing else. Talk too much, I think, today.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Tried to make the thing come out, and it's kind of tough.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your interview.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the time you put
Yes,
in.
for the time you put into it.